And hello to all my Gemini friends. I would like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free psychic tarot reading for April 2022. Now today they've dialed up for you a four-corner spread. It is a very simple yet effective spread for a general reading because it looks at the four main areas that people usually ask about in tarot, which is your love corner, always a popular one there, your health corner, your financial corner, as well as work corner. We're going to take a peek at all four of them. It's a simpler reading for a general reading, but it's probably for a purpose because they've asked that I conclude your reading with a spread I call Telling Time. It's a very interesting spread. It looks at a window of opportunity or a bracket of time. I bracket about a week around it. So a very interesting spread, something they do not want you to miss. And they want to bring it up now. So we're going to see what that is all about at the end of your reading. Interesting things lie ahead, Gemini. So let's get started. The cards are already shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save time. I'm going to bring you in right now so you can watch. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're ready to have a great April. And we are on. What I'm doing now are my ritual cuts. Basically cuts both decks into three different pieces, put it back together in a separate order, and then they're ready to go. It satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. Same procedure for personal private readings. And there we go. And they're both ready to go. So here we go, Gemini. Gemini four corners. This right here is your work corner. Over here is love. Down here is finance. More to talk about on that one. And over here is health. Okay. How are we doing on the screen there? I can move these up. Something like that. Should all be in view. Okay, checking the inverts. Not too many blockages, just kind of a couple down there. Everything is good to be read as is. Pretty good distribution. And I need even angel oracle cards? Not right now. Okay, so we're good to go as it is. We're pretty much ready to rock and roll. So here we go. I'm going to zoom out. We're going to get started. Here we go, Gemini. Quick and easy, quick and easy. All right. I'm going to start with work and finance. We'll work our way over to love and health last. Work is trying to sneak up on you here in the month of April. Keep in mind that they might be asking you to do something either unhealthy here or overburden you with work or something that is going to have perhaps an effect that is not pleasant. I have work message coming in early. This is likely before the full moon, so this is usually the first half of April. And it's bringing up right behind that time frame, it's bringing up physical injury. So this is mostly for my Geminis who work with their body. Even if you're, like let's say you're a nurse or a cashier or even on your feet all day long, this is something that can come up. There's some kind of physical injury that is very prone to happen in April. Of course, we don't want to see that happen, so they're trying to get you to avoid this. So pay attention to your body and the signals it's giving you. If you need to rest or you're doing too much, especially physical work, you got to do what you got to do to get away from that. Take a day off, whatever it is, get extra sleep, something like that. Stretch before you go to work, whatever it is for you. So that's the main kind of gist there. There's not really a lot of depth there, but it's interesting because it's not only your work corner, but they gave me two wands, and wands is the suit of work, business, and enterprise. So very important there. Let's move into your financial corner, because there's not a whole lot we can do to preempt that except for the things that I told you. So it kind of makes my job easy, at least there. Moving into your financials, they have a lot of action. We start with action, mental action here. You guys are making up your mind and taking steps here. At least in your mind, you're taking steps. You're deciding what you're doing financially. Maybe this has to do with budgeting or moving money around or spending or even saving. But you're really deciding these things. If for any reason you are one of my Geminis who's on the rarer side of this reading, and let's say you're not making much financial decisions here, that's the advice. They really want to push you in this direction. They want you to start making up your mind about these things. And like I said, a lot of you already are. So you're on the right path. Looks very good. And the next thing we show right behind that is the Chariot card. This could be a couple different versions in a general reading. Since we have a lot of Geminis tuning in here, I'm going to kind of give it to you guys both ways. This can mean a car. The Chariot does mean transportation, so it could be talking about a car here. Money being actioned toward a car, so like some maintenance getting done or something getting taken care of with the car, whether it's a repair, whether it's something extra or something fun, or just transportation in general. So for some of you, this could be like a motorcycle or a boat. Transportation is wide, kind of bracket of terms there. But for the most part, this applies to most people as a car. Now, the secondary definition of this is really about energy being spread way too far between two things. They really want it tuned back into one thing. This is probably going to be the most common definition for my Geminis, is that this is showing money basically doing this, go in two different directions. It could just be, bills and luxury. I guess most people would be kind of those two main brackets, or maybe it's between two accounts or two jobs or two places. Finding the context of where they're going with this for you is obviously huge with this much energy here in the Gemini bubble. But basically they're showing that this is what's going on. We got too much of this. They really want you to tune it into one thing. So even if it's something that, a lot of your money goes into two different places, they kind of want this converged. They want to have you kind of tune this into one thing. Could even mean get rid of one of them. Okay, so all these things to consider, or it's the card definition, like I told you. This is a good financial relaxation, peace kind of a month. There's not a lot of conflict here. Even the car thing, I view that as things either getting done or things getting worked out in a good way. I don't really view any of this as challenges or conflicts at all. It looks very good. And since we end with that peace and relaxation there, it almost makes me feel like putting money into that, like a vacation is probably the best way to describe that. They don't talk about travel, but they do talk about finding that peace. So make sure that you do that with your financial corner, whether you find peace in saving or whether you find peace in buying yourself a couple little luxuries here and there. Do that in the month of April. It looks very good, and it's not busy. And when they show busyness, that usually means a lot of money being moved around into a lot of different places. It's probably not the month for that. This is kind of like maybe the calm before the storm. Maybe it gets busier later. We're not really sure because we're only reading for April, but it looks very good right now, guys. So on the up and up. Let's move into health, and then I'm going to do some moon cycles before we get into love. For health, they show very, very welcomed, very group-type energy, being very warm and fuzzy. We got the warm and fuzzies going on here in the health corner here for Gemini. Good start. What to do with that, I'm not really sure. I pretty much got to jump to the next card, but this is a very camaraderie-type group vibe. Looking very good. It's not like, the other version of this would be if the card was turned the other way. It would be kind of isolationism, being like kind of like you're all on your own here. That's not the case. You actually have other people here helping you, or that's a good idea, or that would be the advice. Like if, for example, if you were going to join a gym, you wouldn't want to just do that by yourself. You'd want to meet some friends there at least, or get some people to go to the gym with you. Just a silly example, but that's the energy of the card. Okay, what they talk about next is there's a love message coming in later in the month that has a little bit of a sting to it. I know we're not reading the love corner yet, but they're bringing this up in health, so they don't want it to affect your health. This is an emotional pull. This is something that emotionally is not very pleasant. In this card specifically, they show a wasp on a wasp nest. So it's talking about the nest being your home and that there's a little bit of a sting here to this. Okay, so this can actually work both ways, because sometimes you may be the wasp using the stinger. You could be the one, basically using the sting in a positive way, of course, hopefully, or you could be the one getting stung. There's two sides to everything. That's how the duality thing works here on Earth. But in regards to health, they don't want this to affect your health. So finding emotional peace and relaxation, obviously a key, and they give us good timing here too. They let us know that this is more than likely after our full moon, which is the second half of the month, pretty much April 17th toward the end of April. That's when this comes in. It affects your health. They're saying a lot of you, this could be very well sickness related. In the card here, I have the Nine of Swords, and the woman has a bunch of icicles in her hair. So it's probably not a very pleasant feeling. It's either, very cold, it's icy, and it's just uncomfortable to say the least. And since this card means sickness, that can be the literal translation of it. We could be talking about like a germ sickness or like a disease sickness coming up in health in the month of April. Probably a good time, just to be proactive about this. Make sure you're your immune boosters are good and you're vitamined up in the month of April, or definitely if you're around sick people, try to avoid as much as you can. And that could also be part of what this is about here too with that sting. It could be just, sickness in the home, and you just there's only so much you can do to avoid it. It's like you live with these people. What are you going to do? The other part of this card, and it's less likely, but in a general reading, I have to give it all to you. This could also be very illusionary stuff. This could be kind of sickness of the mind, or like stressors and anxieties and stuff that's basically up here that's causing you dilemmas. Maybe you're worrying about some things in the future that aren't here yet. And the best advice I can give you for any of that kind of stuff, if that's you here, is really just to focus on the present day. All we really have is now, and the future stuff may or may not even occur. It may not ever come, or it might come, at a date later than you expect it to. Anyway, the point is, don't put energy from your present worrying way too much about the future. Of course, you still want to make smart decisions, but you don't want to overburden yourself to the point where it feels like you got the icicles in your hair and it's just a little uncomfortable and you're kind of making yourself sick in a way, is very much the vibe here. So that's what we have there for health. Now let's get into the moon cycles. The moon cycles are a very interesting mix, not just for Gemini, but for everybody. We all share the moon cycles. We have 2 new moons in the month of April. Very easy to remember because they're on the very first day of the month and they're on the very last day of the month, 1st and the 30th. Any time around there is really good to bring anything brand new into your life. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be something new with work, something new with money, something new with love, something new with health, starting an exercise program, starting a diet. All these things much better placed following the moon cycles around the beginning of the month or the end of the month. It doesn't have to be on these dates, just anywhere around there. Basically, you want to avoid the middle. And that's because the middle is your full moon energy that comes in on April 16th. Now, that is the garbage truck of the universe is what I call it. That has its purpose too. It's good for getting stuff out of your life. So anything that needs to go, whether it's people, whether it's jobs, whether it is stuff, let's say you got to clean out a garage or sell something, or even a project you got to finish up. Finishing it up right there in the middle of the month, working with the flows, the ebbs and the flows of the universe makes things much easier to do. Now, I put together a moon cycle cheat sheet that kind of it's like a visual tool, really, so you can see this and how to implement positive change using that into your life, and that's absolutely free. I posted that on my website, scottsagent.com. It's on the videos page at the bottom there, so check that out for sure. It's a nice little tool there, and there's your moon cycles. While you're on the website, make sure you're signed up for the newsletter. If you've already done that, you don't have to do it again, but it's absolutely free. And I have a huge giveaway, guys. Next month in May, everybody signed up for the newsletter is going to get a big free. I can't tell you what it is now, it's a secret, but it's going to be big. It's going to be one of my biggest giveaways. And also on the Facebook page, make sure you follow on Facebook. I have a special giveaway on there every single month too. We're always doing fun stuff. So let's get into your love corner. Love corner is showing a blockage between two. In this deck, it's birds, but it's basically 2 entities, 2 people. It could be, if you're in a relationship, this could be you and your partner here are just upside down. Things are either not flowing as good as they usually do, or there is some conflict, or there's some upheaval of some form, and it may not even be about your relationship partner. What if you're a Gemini that's single? What if you are a Gemini that's in a relationship but things are actually good? In that case, they could definitely be talking about anybody else close to your heart. Same thing with my singles. Anybody close to your heart can come in your love corner. Even if you're single, you have a love corner. So this could be a close friend that they're talking about. This could be a family member. I've even seen it be about, a pet related coming up here. So anything that you just love can come up in this love corner. So they're talking about 2 entities here that are just kind of like flipped upside down. The likelihood is that one of these is you and the other one is somebody else. It's just an off time perhaps for a little bit. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be that way for the entire month, but it's definitely a factor that comes into play in April. And even if this is not you, this could be something that you observe too, and the card would still hold true. Let me give you an example. If your close friend and her husband, let's say, were having a huge fight and decided, they're going to move toward divorce, that would hold true on the first part of this card, because we have 2 in upheaval. It's upside down. They're so close to you that it's pulling through your heart chakra here into your love corner. Anyway, let's move to the second card. The second card is good social balance. That is the advice or and or the way out of this. Okay, so make sure your emotional, social health is very good. It is coming in good right now, but when this card comes in like that, it's usually a challenge to keep it that way. And I do, in this deck that they decided to use for you here, they show me the 3, so it makes me feel like you hanging out with 2 other people a lot in April, a group of 3 essentially, and that is kind of and that could be that you're spending less time with this one person, the first one we talked about, and more time with these other 2, maybe going off with your friends more and seeing them more. That would be the social, emotional kind of health that they're talking about here. The advice or the caveat to this is that you don't want to go overboard with it. You don't want to go out all the time. You don't want to, spend a lot of money doing fun things, but that healthy balance is important. You also don't want to do the opposite. You don't want to go into hermit mode and like not go out at all and have zero fun and just be stuck at home. Okay, so that's not the solution either. It's finding that wonderful emotional balance. That's going to be key. And we did talk about that sting type of effect. They didn't talk about that here, but instead they just kind of portrayed something as being upside down. I have a couple birds hanging upside down that should be standing upright. So that's basically the metaphor of what is going on for at least part of April here for my Geminis. So that's the entire 4 corners. Let's get into your telling time. I didn't use that many cards, so I do not have to cut away to reshuffle. We're just going to run it as it is. Did I use aces? No, I didn't. So that even better. We can just run this like it is. So here we go. We got 2 different rounds of telling time here. The first one is going to be the extremely high probability, something they do not want you to miss whatsoever. And if that's the case, we'll probably stop right there if we get a date. If we don't, we go another round, and that just kind of limits the frequency a little bit. It's basically saying that they don't want you to focus too hard on it, but this is still an important time that we need to discuss. So let me pull out the rest of the cards, see what we have. I have 2 dates right off the bat, so they're very important. I am going to have to, well, let me pull some more cards for them first. Tacking on time there, tacking on time here. This is just getting the exact kind of week that they're talking about here for both of these sets. I am going to have to cut away just to do a couple calculations here, do some math, so I'm not going to bore you to death with that, so I will be right back. Okay, Gemini, I am back. I've calculated your telling time here. We have 2 very important window of opportunity dates. Let's talk about the one that's coming up very, very quickly here first. First one they wanted to give you here is the very end of April. I'm going to bracket it 4/27 through May the 4th. Right at the end of this month, right at the beginning of May. Very important that a small victory is coming in here in work, and this is going to lead to a possible fork in the road, which means that there's different ways that you can take this small victory. It almost feels like a raise or an opportunity for advancement or something like that. So please keep your eyes open. Spirit has done this specific spread to get you this information. They want your eyes open to this because this might be something that you would otherwise miss. Let's say you overhear a conversation that a position's opening up within the company you work for, or even a different company elsewhere, or you're overhearing your friends talking about things, stuff like that. Keep your eyes and ears open here. End of this month, going into May, there's a possible fork in the road. So a career shift, career changes can come up very prevalently there. And Spirit is looking ahead on the chart. And if you move with this can be a very good thing. So keep your eyes and ears open for my Geminis that will affect. So that's the first one. The second date is much later, but it's still important. They want to talk to you about it now because this is the exact date is September 23rd, but I bracket a week around that. So I do September 20th through September 27th. So the 3rd week or so of September is what they're talking about here. And they're bringing up a ceremony. And a regeneration ceremony is the angel card. That can also mean like death. So this could be like a funeral of some form that is coming up in September. That is very important, I guess, that they want to tell you about. Or it's just some kind of other brand new cyclical event. It's almost like this kicks off something. So it could even be a wedding, or a wedding in a way is a regeneration. But since that card is so much, I read that card like the death card. And even though in tarot they don't talk about physical death, death is viewed high in spirituality. Death is a very beautiful thing. And the way that they're kind of setting this up is that this is something they want to either warn you about or forecast in a way that probably, I don't even know. You'd probably forget this by the time September comes. But they're bringing this up. I'm actually going to pull another card with it too. It's going to be another angel too. but they bring up an event or a ceremony first in the month of September. Now, it's not going to be the same for everybody. Of course, we have a lot of Geminis tuning in here, but this is they want you to pay attention to the window. I'm actually going to show you guys a close-up of this card, the secondary one that I pulled. It's this one right here. It's Truth Be Told, and they're showing a little window. Okay, so they want you to pay attention to this window for other, I'm not exactly sure the specific reasons here, but it's a big deal for you. For my Geminis, this is a big deal, a big point, fork in the road. I know we talked about that for work, but here in September, this is something that is going to be life-changing for you, perhaps in ways that we don't understand right now. So that's going to wrap us up for the entire reading, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Also, remember to check out your quadrants video. We just finished the first quadrant. We're popping into the new quadrant here, quadrant 2 for spring. It's a good time to kind of revisit those and see what was accurate about quadrant 1, see what's coming up for quadrant 2, which is April, May, and June, and that forecasts the whole year there. And you know, make sure you check that out. The link is going to autoplay at the end of this video, and also a link in the subscription and the description there. I try to make things easy for you guys. That's it for me. Thank you so much for joining. Please remember to like and subscribe so you see the future videos. Take care, have a great April, and I will see you soon.